Hi, Tim Sales here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about your prospect just saw or heard anti-network marketing information. Now, what do you do? All right, this particular series has to do with what prevents somebody from joining a network marketing company. And oftentimes you're going to hear people say, I saw a video, I heard about something, I read something on a newspaper or whatever. It's going to be pyramid, scam, cult. Few people make money, people at the top, people who get in early, those kind of things. What I'm also going to touch on is that the 2020 election has revealed much. I'm not going into politics. I'm going more into the media and what's going on there. So the first thing I want to tell you about something that you might seem odd, but what you're really trying to solve is the person's unwillingness or unknowingness to see differences. I know, you just said, what? All right, so this book right here, I got my son doing a long time ago, okay? And it is differentiation, all right? And you see, a child, when they go to write, and let's say, and this was the particular thing, so there's lines and they're writing the alphabet, right? But the line, the bottom of, let's say, of the E is going underneath the line, or it's going over the top or something like that. So he keeps making this mistake. And it's not motor control, because I'm watching him do it. It's that he can't see the example compared to his own. And so he can't see anything wrong with it. What is that? That's inability to see differences. And so I got him this little book, and it kind of walks him, just basically, it's like, it'll say, write a check mark above the two pictures that are in the same category. And so you've got a ball, you've got a bucket, you've got a watch, right? And you're like, okay. And so he's going to figure that out. All right. What's that got to do with network marketing? A lot. It's everything. It's the fundamental of intelligence when you come right down to it. So he's matching shapes, in other words, ovals compared to ovals and things like that. He's identifying the same or different. Omitted data is the most difficult. Okay, so let's say that you have a picture of kids playing basketball. There's a goal up there, the rim, a bunch of kids running around on the court, and it looks all great. And you say, what's missing? And the kid's like, what do you mean what's missing? They're playing basketball. Yeah, but what's not there? Well, everything's there, right? He's on the court. You got this, you got this, you got this. Okay? No basketball. You see, that's the out point. That's the thing that isn't there. That is the most difficult of all evaluations. And so all that you're doing is you're looking at the data that is present, and you don't know to look for omitted data. When somebody really knows a particular subject, then they know something's omitted. And so when there are people who are out there and doing anti-stuff, they are omitting a lot of things because they don't know what they're talking about. They only heard it from somebody else. And so they're just regurgitating the same thing. The media does the same thing. They don't know their subject necessarily. Some do. Some take the time to know what should be there and would be able to tell you, hey, this has been omitted. All right. So now I'm going to dive in. I'm going to show you an example of this. So the person saw an anti-something, and you are now talking to them. Arguments, zero value. All right. Do not get in an argument. Opinions, very little value, because it's just going to go back and forth. He said, she says. It becomes an echo chamber, and the other one isn't willing to bend. Have you ever had an argument with somebody, maybe your spouse, maybe a brother or a sister, maybe your mom and dad when you were a high-level teenager or something like that? Arguments, they persist. They keep on going and going and going until some kind of fact comes into the equation, or when both just become exhausted. Well, back when you were 13 years old, you did this. what are you talking about? And all of a sudden you're like all over the edge, completely off the topic and things like that. So arguments do not go there whatsoever. Opinions, be careful, all right, because they can send direct to arguments, all right? And so you've got to get into looking at a fact. And the biggest difficulty in looking at a fact is it often looks like an opinion, okay? You've got to be able to recognize when there's a piece of data that's fact. It's visible, there's a time, place, event, something that you can put your hands on. All right. So as long as it's in this echo chamber, as long as it's there and there's going this back and forth, you're not going to gain ground. So what I'm suggesting you do is you've got to point to truth. All right. That has the highest value. Okay. So I did a video in Network Marketing Power. It's on the YouTube channel here. What is network marketing simplified? That would give the basic data. All right. Because every time I see newspapers or anti-people, they give a description that does not make any sense whatsoever. And I'm going to give you an example in just a second. All right. So what happens when truth and facts hit the line is changes the conversation. That's what happens. And if you'll ever notice it in an argument, you know, your spouse asks you to go to the store with you. You don't feel like going. You just got back from work. And so, you know, you say no. And your spouse says, you know, and it gets into a big upset. And now you feel like, well, I got to go now, right? But you don't want to be there. And so it never works out right. Maybe it had never happened to you, but what you've got to do is as soon as that let's say that she says, I just miss you and I really want to be with you. Or you say, you know what? It's not that I don't want to be with you at all. It's that I'm tired. I want to lay down. And then the truth hits, and then everybody's like, all right. Okay. And it's like, can you believe we just argued for 30 minutes? You know, I could have gone to the store with you when we got back home by now. You know what I mean? In other words, you realize the illogic once some truth hits it. And so that's what you're trying to do. And I've said this many, many times. I'm always trying to chase a lead, which is a data point, back to the source so that I can constantly find truth in things. All right. So here's an example. This would be some photograph on a social media, and it was. And this was the picture. All of this was not there. Those are mine because there's 4 false statements on one image. 99% of representatives lose money from MLM companies. Okay? That 99% is false. Lose money, that's false. The source of it, Federal Trade Commission, that's false. This picture is like false claim, okay? Because it's representing, it's showing a picture of what that is. False. So 4 different statements. All right, well, how would an average person know that? They wouldn't know that. And that's the problem, because they just think this is a fact because it says source from Federal Trade Commission. Well, if you did know, you would know that that is in the public comments, just like if you commented on a video, one of my videos down below. All right. So even though it's on the website, it's in public comments. All right. I know the person who wrote that document. He and I were in the same company at the same time. He worked for a year, said it doesn't work. I worked for 5 years, had a 6 to 7 figure income for, I guess it was 24 years or something like that. So I know it's false. I know what to look for. All right. Okay, so you would have to kind of go through the process to look at this one. 99% of representatives lose money from MLM companies. All right. So that means that after their expenses have been deducted, they lost money. Okay. So therefore, they would have to have requested and received all 1099 statements as well as the IRS data in order to come back and make a comment like that. I find that very difficult, in fact, impossible to do. So that is not factual, and you can look at it that way. And 99% is not factual, and I'll show you. Okay, and so that makes that unfactual. Okay, so this lady, I'm not sure what her name is, she said, and she's an anti-network marketer, nobody, and I mean nobody, and there's an echo sound, who covers these topics about MLMs can deny that the system itself, the system of MLM companies, is designed for the majority of people to fail and for the majority of the people to lose money. All right, well, I deny that. Yeah. Give me a call, whoever you are, whatever your name is. Let's do a debate. But wait until you see what I'm going to show next, and then you can decide it. So what got me a little bit curious is this phrase, designed for the majority of people to fail. Designed. Okay. We're going to sell this, and we're going to give the salesperson a 30% discount, and he's going to go out and sell it. All right? And we're going to give everybody the same opportunity. So we're not going to discriminate between anybody, no color, no sex, no background, no whether you're pregnant or not, your weight, nothing. We're not going to discriminate, and we don't care, who you are. And you sell it, you make money. You don't sell it, you don't make money. How could you design that to fail? How could that possibly be designed to fail? Okay, so let's go to the let's go to the multi-level marketing part of it. So the video gentleman that I have behind the camera here, let's say that I told him, hey, you can sell these too. All right, I'm going to help you learn how to do it. Why would I do that? Well, because I'm going to make a 10% on what you make. Okay, all right, so he doesn't know how to do it. He needs help. I'm willing to help him. I get a percentage. Okay. And he also, no discrimination whatsoever, he can do it. He cannot do it. How is that designed to fail? All right. So this is, you would have to know enough about it in order to see that that is just a blazing lie. Okay. So the reason that they can get away with saying this is that nobody stepped up and said, hey, look at this. All right. Here is how the truth, if you will, and that is looking at real estate, looking at YouTube, looking at actors, entertainers, musicians, and things like that. You get down here and it's 3% of real estate agents are going to earn the average income. You take a YouTuber and only 0.005. And so this lady is a YouTuber. 0.005. Well, this is a lot better than this, right? Okay. And then here's actors and entertainers, 0.4. Here's network marketing, and it's 7.5. So if one of them was designed to fail, then I would say that one's designed to fail more. So the way that the person gets away with making a comment like this is the absence of the data. It's the omitted data. What's omitted in this? Well, you didn't ever see a comparison before, and so she gets away with saying this because there's no comparison. That's the reason. It's the bottom line. All right. So, and then here's how you solve this. So now that I've explained to you that it is about differentiation and it's about omitted data, number one, you can go to Network Marketing Power and you can send them a video that walks them through whatever the objection is. The whole first series, almost a year, that I did was what network marketing isn't, because of all the anti-MLM, how they spin it in such a way that even I get confused about how to work it out and say, man, how could you get that with such a simple system? You partner with a company that provides you a product and service. Everybody gets the same comp plan. How in the world you can spin it all these different ways, I have no idea, unless that was what their business model depends on, is them spinning it into a lie. And so what you've got to do is basically take off that coat of paint that's a lie. All right. And so, wait a minute, it's not even there. I gotta take it off of the person. So number one, you can send them a video. Number two, and what I wish for you to do, is you learn it. So you go back, you see what I say, you rehearse it into where you can walk them through it. Don't tell them. Assist, nudge with questions so they see the illogic. All right? Don't hammer it, preach, or invalidate. All right? Because they think you're in the echo chamber. And you think they're in the echo chamber. What's the echo chamber? The echo chamber is that I'm right, you're wrong, and vice versa. And so what you've got to do is just present a fact or notice what they're missing and ask questions. Okay, so is it a system designed to fail? Okay, so if I sell this, if I get this at a 30% discount from Apple, and I sell it to you for 30%, where's the design to fail? Where do you see that? Let them work it out. Oh, well, you know what? Tell me. You know, it's just each one of those, and it's trying to get that person. You're not invalidating. You're not trying to make him small or her small, or to say, you know, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, you know, or something like that. No, don't ever use that terminology, because what you're trying to do is to get the person to understand. It's just like when my son Tristan was doing his writing, and I noticed what was wrong. And then what I did is that I just pointed to the lower line, and I said, do you see the example that they did? Their L's came all the way down to the bottom line, and then it slid across there. Yours are coming about, you know, this far below it. Do you notice that? You know, and then I'd say something like, you know, son, my handwriting was the worst in the world, until I finally figured out that example was what I needed to first figure out. And so I'm not going to invalidate my son. I'm not going to say you'll never, you know, your handwriting is horrible. That doesn't help. And so what I'm trying to have you guys do is to assist. All right. And so it's assist, nudge with questions. Don't nudge with more data. Like let it open up, let it flower in front of them. Let them have their own epiphany instead of you telling them about your epiphany. Okay, so it's one of those things where if a person is convinced against their will, they're of the same opinion still. Okay, and so what you're trying to do is to make it their idea, right? So, and then in terms of just what I've learned in the election, it's been fascinating because you all know, if you go back and you talk about and you look at some of the videos that I did earlier that had to do with the media, where did network marketing get its bad reputation? And I was pointing out a lot of examples, and I had this one where it was like, so when people end up using trigger words like pyramid, scam, cult, all of these kinds of words, they don't have substance. What they're doing is that they're trying to enrage and create an emotional response out of you instead of a study of something. And so I watched the media during this election time. All right, so they have opinion. They're not supposed to have opinion. They're supposed to show both sides. They suppress opposing views, censorship. Why would they not just show it and let us determine? Tech companies have an opinion. Obviously, now we know. We didn't think they did before. Suppress opposing views. That's censorship. Blocking source. All right, so anytime true proof came out, they blocked it. Right? So somebody says, hey, watch this video. You click on it and it's been terminated. Right? And so instead of the platform being a place where people could evaluate data and source, it became censored. And I remember when I first, like a long time ago, I'm talking about maybe 4 years ago or something like that. I remember somebody, I was trying to send somebody in China something, and they say, no, it won't come through the firewall of China. And I'm like, what are you talking about, the firewall of China? And they were saying, no, we have censorship here. We're not allowed to look at American stuff. I'm like, what? I couldn't fathom it. And here it's happening right here in America. And so showing source should be the media's job. That should be the only thing that they're after. And I find it very interesting that we're here there, because the truth is that a true democracy depends upon facts and people able to identify them. And then just to kind of let you know what I do is that there's so much noise. The only thing that I have found is Epoch Times. They're the only people that I have found that just give you the data, right? And in this particular one, why the Epoch Times won't call the presidential race until all challenges are resolved. Okay, so if you clicked on that, you'd be able to see why they've not called anything. Major networks cut away from Trump's White House speech about alleged election fraud. Okay, so instead of letting you listen to the president, they cut away. The media cuts you off, so you're no longer able to get source. Facebook bans Stop the Steal group, ramps up constraints on election content. So now you can see, like that I wasn't just giving you false information. I was actually saying, yeah, it's actually happening. Censorship is actually happening in the media and in high tech. So hopefully that's valuable, but make sure you understand what I'm really saying here. Is that when somebody sees anti-network marketing information, don't assume that they're going to fight you. You're there to help them. That is the value. That's like almost your first job, is to help unravel that very confusing, you pull an extension cord out of the closet and it's all wrapped up, and you can't even find which ends, the part to plug in. And so you got to unravel it. And that's the same way that I feel with my prospects. And now I'm going to go back to the very first video I did in this series, having to do with optimism versus pessimism. If the person is more pessimistic, then they're more likely to move towards anti-stuff, because it's in that world of anti, hate, dislike. Nobody succeeds. Everybody fails. In other words, they're more likely to gravitate to that way. Where an optimist would say something, and I've heard it a few times, where somebody says, I don't believe any of that stuff, and so an optimist would not necessarily cater to that direction. All right. So anyway, I hope that helps you. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, comment down below, please. And if you haven't subscribed, you might think of doing so. Thank you.